I'm here with John, Prosthetic Care. John, what are we doing today?
First, we got a series of measurements to determine the size of your limb compared to the previous visits we've had. We're going to don the appropriate size liner.
Don, I like that. Don the appropriate liner.
Put a sock over that. Make any necessary marks for anatomy, bony prominences. Take a plaster mold.
All right, so have there been any differences from a year ago when we made the new socket?
You've dropped about 3 centimeters globally. A little more in some areas, a little less in others. For the most part, it's been about 3 centimeters.
All right, and then maybe can you show some of this, what we've been doing over the year to try to keep this going on?
Well,
what's that? First of all, explain to us what that is.
The seal and liner that you use to suspend your prosthesis.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 28 centimeter liner, and the liner you've worn previously has one sealing membrane, and that sealing membrane allows you to don socks. Those socks slide under that membrane, but as you add layers and layers of socks, you do that to accommodate the change in your leg. You keep piling them on. Eventually, you can only pile so many on to maintain a good fit.
Yep.
Your seal is compromised as the socks are added, and the control of the limb is compromised.
That's it.
We've gone to a new size liner today. Circumferentially, it's not much different. The size of the previous one was a 28, but it was a conical liner. This is a 28, but it's a cylindrical liner, so that the profile of the old one had more of an angle at the top.
Mm-hmm.
This one has 5 rings on it for a seal. You
Right.
can still use socks with it, but your socks can only cover 2. Sometimes folks can cover as many as 3 rings.
And what will this do for me?
This will improve the fit and control of the socket to accommodate the changes that have occurred.
Okay, so here's the old socket, and what we've been talking about for maybe some of the folks who aren't as familiar with what we're doing. Maybe you can describe the socket and then how that liner works to help. For those who don't know, an amputee needs to not only have a socket, which is right here, but they need to be able to stay in it. And so most of them work with something called a suction, full suction socket, and then John will explain the rest.
The rubber ring or sealing membrane on this liner, as it slides in the socket, seals against the walls of the socket.
Okay.
But if the amputee shrinks in volume too dramatically, that seal can't maintain contact with the wall of the socket, and then allows the liner to slip out. If you have good contact, that membrane maintains contact with the entire wall all the time, and no air can get in to allow the residual limb, the stump, to come out of the socket.
Okay, and so what we've learned before is it doesn't make a difference. The prosthetic device we have here is a what? What is it called?
It's a C-leg.
It's a C-leg, and that's one of the top currently available.
Yes.
But really the key to this is from the C-leg.
From the components up.
And why is that?
Because regardless of how good your components are, if the socket does not fit well, you don't have good control of those components, and you don't have good suspension of the entire system. Good components are a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that, and actually they enhance the lives of many amputees.
Yep.
However, if the socket itself doesn't fit well, it doesn't really matter as much how good those components are, because if you can't stand the comfort level of the socket because of pressure issues, or can't control it because of a poor fit, then you're not going to function well.
You're toast. You're toast. You can't go around. Okay, good. Well, we're going to move on with the process here. Thanks, John.